We find ourselves in a room where a person lies visibly unwell, surrounded by several others. The individual lying down is identified by the name displayed. Beside him, a woman weeps, reminiscing about the person's healthier days. Sean, the fifth disciple, remarks that the old man seems drained and seeks guidance from the elder with C regarding their next steps. Sean suggests seeking another elder for wisdom, expressing doubt that praying for the old man's recovery would be. Kevin dismisses the idea of such a venture, believing it to be a waste of time. He credits himself with exposing the old man's martial arts, implying that without his intervention, the old man wouldn't have met this fate. The second and third disciples nod in agreement with Kevin. The fourth disciple, Young, expresses anticipation for the old man's demise, suggesting it's long overdue. Zhang shares Young's sentiment and advocates treating those who still value the old man's teachings with disdain. Young plans to become a disciple of the second elder, known for having many female followers. A nearby girl becomes enraged by the conversation, clenching her fists and cursing those present. Rising to her feet, she berates everyone, attributing their potential for immortality to SEO's teachings. She warns that the old man's time may be running out and accuses the group of ingratitude, declaring them mere animals. Her outburst provokes anger among the group. Fun approaches her. Fun slaps her, causing her to stumble backward and fall. He admonishes her to show more respect. Feng, visibly irritated, questions her audacity to address him in such a manner. She redirects her attention to Fun, suggesting that if she wishes to remain with the old man, she should be allowed to. As Kevin gathers belongings, he remarks that he's already taken anything valuable from the old man. Feng, carrying some items, smirks, commenting that the worthless old man is a fitting match for his worthless servant. The woman remained prone, quivering as she attempted to rise, her mind consumed by thoughts of betrayal. Eventually, she managed to lift herself from the ground, tears clouding her vision as she pondered the actions of those who had betrayed her. While still on the ground, the elder called out to her. Hastening back to the bedside, she inquired about his well-being, reassuring him that she would tend to him after the ungrateful ones had departed. Shirao reflected on their journey, expressing regret for not formally offering her disciple hip or guiding her cultivation. He sighed, questioning if she harbored resentment towards him. C, feeling somewhat embarrassed, acknowledged her limitations in cultivation due to her innate qualities. Recounting how Shirao had rescued her from slavery, she remained grateful and harbored no complaints. She stressed her disdain for the unjust ways of the heavens and the betrayal of villains, lamenting that good people often meet unjust fates. Seattle began to prop himself up in bed. Before she could finish her sentence, she was interrupted by a fit of coughing, causing Z to express concern for his well-being. Shirao, noticing blood on his hand, grimly remarked that his time might be near. CIA knelt on the ground, prostrating herself before Joey. She pleaded for him to accept her as his disciple if he didn't resent her. She vowed to seek vengeance against those who had betrayed him, refusing to rise until he granted her this honor. CEO was somewhat taken aback by her determination. Turning solemnly, CEO placed a hand over his chest. He acknowledged the gravity of his condition, questioning the wisdom of accepting her offer. Say, worried for his well-being, urged him to refrain from exerting himself. CEO grasps a small bottle and explains that it contains the last remnants of condensation essence. Though not remarkable, it's all he can offer her in this moment. Seeing this, tears well up in Z's eyes. She urges Jiao to rest and not worry about her. But Jiao reassures C that he won't depart so swiftly. As he speaks, a fit of coughing overtakes him, and he feels a powerful sensation, causing the bottle to slip from his grasp. The bottle tumbles to the floor. It shatters upon impact. As his eyelids grow heavy, he catches sight of Sai, admitting she needn't have offered herself as his disciple. Yet, he still needs to awaken. Sia begins to ponder if this is truly his end, while he finds her sobbing too loudly, causing discomfort to his ears. She perceives his annoyance. This regret stems from not accepting Ji as his apprentice earlier. He resigns to his fate. But suddenly, a voice announces the official launch of the disciple bonus system. Shirao, bewildered, wonders about its significance. Yet, he receives an infinite gold pill. Each pill possesses the spiritual energy equivalent to around 10,000 essence-gathering pills capable of advancing cultivation or healing injuries significantly. Shirao holds the pill, tears streaming down his face, expressing gratitude for the opportunity after 20 years in this world since crossing over. 2 decades ago, he arrived in this world following a car accident, believing himself to be the protagonist of a prestigious family with exceptional talents. He even reached the foundation building stage before turning 10. However, upon joining the Hong Kong sect, his cultivation stagnated, becoming the subject of ridicule. Yet, the heavens have granted him a second chance. Xiao queries the system about the nature of the reward he has received. The system elucidates that, true to its name, the host will receive compensations for all that is imparted to the disciple under the master's name. Shurao inquires if this includes the skills and knowledge his disciples acquire. The system confirms that indeed it encompasses teachings from a host. Should the disciple's cultivation or insights progress, the host will receive double the value. Put simply, if the host imparts 200 days' worth of cultivation to the disciple, they will receive back the equivalent of 200 days of cultivation. Similarly, if the disciple gains understanding of sword technique under the master's tutelage, the host will receive X times the value. This implies that the host will directly comprehend the sword skill to the level 10. Shurao holds the golden pill in his hand, querying the system if giving it to his disciple would yield returns. The system clarifies that items received as rewards cannot be recompensed. However, if the master teaches skills granted by the system and the disciple gains new insights, it's not considered a system-derived item, thus warranting a second reward. Understanding this, Shurao decides to ingest the pill, recognizing the opportunity it presents. Upon consuming the golden pill, Shurao emits a brilliant glow, ascending from the realm to the golden core in one seamless motion. Throughout this, Z remains by Jiao's bedside, trembling and tearful, pleading for him to awaken. She expresses in quivering tones that all she desires is his recovery, not vengeance, discipleship, or gifts like essence pills. Suddenly, Shurao places his hand on Jay's head, advising her to remember the first lesson her master will impart. With tear-filled eyes, he lifts her chin, surprising her. Upon meeting his gaze, Ji observes that he is completely healed, radiating powerful energy. He instructs her that if she has enemies, she should seek revenge with utmost ferocity, doubling the severity. Meanwhile, in another location, Feng kneels before a man, beseeching him to accept him as his disciple, and offered Shurao and LT, Unk and GT, his secret martial arts in exchange. Feng found himself in the Hongmang sect, specifically the Sixth Peak. Accepting the scroll from Feng, the man acknowledged Shurao and LT, Unk and GT, as prowess as a disciple. He lamented how Shurao, once the pride of the Hongmang sect and deemed unrivaled, had fallen into such a state. This man, the elder of the Sixth Peak and head of the disciplinary hall, expressed his regret. The elder suggested to Feng that if he truly desired to become his disciple, it could be arranged. However, the elder introduced a ruler known as the ruler of repentance, capable of analyzing a person's spiritual roots. The elder proposed that if Feng could extract Shurao's spiritual root using this ruler, he would accept Feng as his personal disciple. Yet, Feng was cautioned to handle the ruler with care, for once it came into contact with blood, it would not easily detach without the proper method. Assuring the elder, Feng grasped the ruler, pledging not to disappoint him. Suddenly, a powerful attack struck Feng from behind, hurling him into a wall. The assault left Feng gravely wounded, and when he looked down, he was horrified by what he saw. His body bore wounds from the attack, and his blood had tainted the ruler, draining his energy. Overwhelmed by pain and despair, Feng collapsed to the ground, crying out that he couldn't die there, as his journey to immortality had just begun. Unperturbed by the chaos, Elder Wang questioned who could have perpetrated such an act. Looking up, the elder spotted Shurao flying overhead. Meeting Wang's gaze, Shurao challenged him to retrieve his spiritual roots himself if he truly desired them. Wang glanced up and apologized to Shurao, clarifying that it was merely a jest played on Feng and nothing serious. However, inwardly, Wang pondered how Shurao possessed such formidable power when Feng had claimed he was on death's doorstep. It defied logic. Shurao responded that if that were the case, then all was well. Unfortunately, Shurao wasn't joking. Wang Na shook his head in disbelief. Shurao began channeling his magical power, summoning several swords around him. Observing this, Wang Na was impressed, recognizing it as the Kong Gang sword art technique. This recollection prompted Wang Na to remember something. When he and Shurao entered the Hongmang sect, Shurao had gained favor with the sect master by inventing the glowing sword art and received the lion's share of cultivation resources. Fortunately, Wang Na had advanced to the Golden Core realm first, rendering Shurao seemingly useless. Wang Na erected a barrier around himself to defend against Shurao and LT, Unk and GT's attack. Within the barrier, he warned Shurao against foolishly attacking him. as Wang Na had already reached the second level of the golden core, negating any advantage Shirao might have. But before Wang could finish his sentence, his barrier was effortlessly shattered by Shirao's attack. This left Wang Na utterly terrified by Shirao's strength, questioning how this could be happening. With a faint smile, Shirao asked if this was the extent of someone at the second level of the golden core. The assault intensified with swords swirling around Wang Na. He was in shock, believing the power Shirao demonstrated surpassed even that of the third level of the golden core or higher. As Wang Na contemplated Shirao and LT, Unk and GT, as power, one of the swords struck his hand, eliciting a scream of pain. Emerging from amidst the swords, Wang Na shouted at Shirao, warning him that if he dared to kill Wang Na, the sect would never forgive such an act. Shirao calmly questioned Wang Na's assertion, expressing curiosity about what the sect would do once Wang Na was no more. Shirao redirected his attack towards Wang Na, who with no other recourse decided to utilize a mysterious artifact. Upon activation of this artifact, a protective shield emerged, shielding Wang Na from harm. Wang Na inwardly lamented that unfortunately this artifact had only 3 charges, and this was the last one. He viewed it as a significant loss, as he had intended to reserve this final charge for when he advanced to the Nent Soul stage. Observing this, Shirao acknowledged to himself that Wang Na indeed had some hidden tricks. He remarked that it seemed Wang Na had received quite a few gifts over the years. Suddenly, black lightning began to strike indiscriminately. Wanga called out to Shirao, questioning if he truly intended to persist with this course of action. Shirao, with a resolute expression, questioned why he should halt. Continuing his assault, Shirao's attack culminated in a massive explosion. Amidst the chaos, Wang Na found it difficult to believe what was unfolding before him. Shirao's onslaught commenced, laying waste to everything in its path. When the onslaught subsided, the surroundings lay in ruins with a gaping hole torn into the ground. In the aftermath, Wang Na suffered severe injuries, writhing in pain. As Shirao drew closer, Wang Na was overcome with terror, screaming for Shirao to stay back. Drawing near, Shirao questioned if the shield Wang Na had used was a top-tier mysterious artifact, as it had managed to preserve Wang Na's life in this world. Artifacts were categorized into 5 levels: mortal, mysterious, earthly, celestial, and immortal. Each level contained 4 grades: low, medium, high, and supreme. Wang Na's shield belonged to the mysterious class. Even within a sect, such a treasure would typically be regarded as a sect-defending treasure. Shirao hadn't anticipated Wang Na possessing such a valuable item. Shirao paid little heed to this revelation. In any case, the confrontation was drawing to a close. Drawing his sword, he aimed to deliver the final blow. Despite his injuries, Wang Na hastily erected one final barrier around himself and pleaded for Shirao to spare his life. Shirao hesitated as he heard a voice. It was Zhang Hai, the leader of the Hongmang sect, cautioning Shirao against acting rashly. Intract conflicts violated sect rules and could result in expulsion for both parties. Shirao turned towards the sect leader and withdrew a small amount of energy into his hand. Upon seeing Zhang Hai, Wang Na felt a surge of hope. Believing the gods had intervened, he began to implore for assistance, alleging that Shirao was causing havoc among the members present. In an instant, Zhang Yi used his power to strike Wang Na's face, silencing him. Zhang Ho declared that Wang Na should report to the inquiry pool of the disciplinary hall for a thorough analysis to determine who deserved expulsion from his sect. Wang Na, now battered and trembling on the ground, weakly protested that it wasn't necessary. Turning to Shirao, Zhang Hai congratulated him for breaking through to the Golden Core realm. Expressing gratitude to Zhang Hai, Shirao acknowledged that without this advancement, he might have become a target, risking the removal of his spiritual roots. Wang Na shouted that it was a misunderstanding and that he would accept the sects. However, he expressed a hope that this wouldn't be held against him in the future. Zhang Hai, with crossed arms, assured Wang Na that out of respect for the sect leader, he would spare Wang Na's life for the time. Being Xiao looked back toward the south, dragging himself on the ground, pointed out that Fun had committed a graver offense than Wang, not deeming betrayal of one's master and repaying kindness with hostility. Therefore, Jiao advocated for Fun to be barred from entering the sect, and for his cultivation to be completely extracted. Fun attempted to appeal to the sect leader for assistance, but Zhang Hai simply stated that it was Shirao's prerogative to handle the situation as he saw fit. Upon hearing this, Z began to run, asserting that there was no need for her master to intervene. Witnessing Sei's reaction, Fun disparaged Ji as useless and launched an attack against her. Hyde remained motionless as the attack approached. Then she began to channel magic into her hand. With effortless grace, she defended against Fun's attack. This left Fun completely stunned, as Ji had been previously regarded as insignificant. He questioned when she had learned the Kong Lang sword art. Upon hearing this, Shirao began to explain. Just 3 days prior, while Ji was meditating, the system provided her specifications. Her name was Yin Nu. Her true identity was a disciple. Her proficiency was at level 260, and her talent was the innate immortal sword. Activation of this talent required reaching the foundation establishment stage to gain recognition from the Lin family's ancestral sword embryo. Shirao marveled at the incredible talent of the innate immortal sword, pondering its significance. With a suspicious glance, Shirao remarked casually that he was simply considering Ji's potential talent with swords. He expressed his intention to seek out Fun so Ji wouldn't be left defenseless, demonstrating his Kong long sword art. Shirao cleaved a tree with his sword. He explained that he had created this technique years ago and emphasized that even if Ji could learn just a little, it would be remarkable. Forming a small sword with her magic, Ji inquired if it resembled the technique. Shirao affirmed her progress, and the system notified that she had entered into the Kong long sword art. Another window appeared, indicating that teaching the disciple the Kong long sword art would yield 10-fold rewards, including the sky slicing technique, a high-level mysterious grade skill. This underscored Ji's true value. Ci approached Fun, preparing to step on him, and began to speak. Despite Master Shirao and LT, Unk and GT's extensive guidance, Fun remained unable to grasp the technique. Gi glared down at Fun, who pleaded for Gi to cease. She taunted Fun, asking who was useless now, then pressed her foot onto his chest, eliciting screams of pain. Ci addressed her master, confirming that the traitor thing's spiritual route had been eradicated, and requested Sen to validate it. Xiao, acknowledging the accomplishment, commended her on a job well done. Zhang declared that Shirao had outlined his punishment, shifting attention to Wang Na for her turn to face consequences. Zhang, who was instructed to take Wang, offering a resolution to the matter. Shirao turned towards Leader Zhang, inquiring when he had mentioned the conclusion of everything. Leader Zhang, somewhat perplexed, questioned Shirao about his statement, reminding him that earlier he had promised to spare Wang's life. Wang, upon hearing this, anxiously inquired what more Shirao demanded of him. Shirao offered a faint smile, affirming his intention to spare Wang's life. However, his demeanor turned cold as he asserted that Wang wouldn't be let go so easily. Shirao stated that Elder Wang's sincerity would determine the outcome. Wang's smile widened as he produced a bag, claiming it contained all his treasures. He extended the bag to Shirao, hoping it would suffice. Jiao employed his magic to swiftly seize the bag, praising Elder Wang, Anna, and LT, Unk, and GT's wisdom and enlightenment. Thanking Wang, Jiao bid him farewell and instructed his disciples to depart. As they left, Zi showered praise upon Master Shirao, who announced they would rest for the day and resume G and LT, Unk, and GT's guidance the next. Wang watched silently. Leader Zhang bid farewell to Wang Anna, urging him to take care. Wang, with a bruised face and seething annoyance, vowed that this wouldn't be the end. The following day, at the 7th peak, Shirao found himself engrossed in exploration once more. Shirao eagerly delved into the contents of the bag bestowed upon him by Wang Na. As Shirao sifted through the items, he discovered an array of treasures, including elixirs suitable for advancing to the Golden Core realm. While their quality wasn't top-notch, they would suffice. Picking up 2 scrolls, one of mortal grade and the other earth grade, Shirao pondered how these medium-grade primordial techniques could aid Z in laying a solid foundation. Surveying the assortment, Shirao identified the most valuable item, a sword named the 5-element seal, earth grade intermediate level. Realizing he had little use for these treasures himself, he resolved to gift them all to Sai, knowing that the system's rewards would always surpass such worldly possessions. With nearly everything inspected, only one item remained, a small bag brimming with high-level spiritual stones. Xiao marveled at Wang Na's recent mining endeavors, now feeling assured of wealth. With newfound riches in mind, Xiao entertained thoughts of Wang Na establishing a village someday. Just then, Z arrived, reminding Shirao of their scheduled training session in 2 hours. She sought permission to enter. Chang granted her entry and invited Ji to join them. As they convened, Chang delved into the intricacies of cultivation realms, explaining the stages from postnatal Inateki refinement to the transcendental realm, each subdivided into 10 minor realms. The postnatal realm focused on enhancing physical strength and quality by strengthening blood energy and tempering muscles, bones, and skin. In the innate realm, internal energy formed from blood and chi, bolstering martial prowess and physical defense up to the transcendental realm. Ascension to immortality was rumored to be possible upon reaching the highest realm, though few had attained such heights. Thus, the journey toward immortality remained an elusive quest pursued by only the most dedicated practitioners. Positioned across from each other, Shurao and Ji connect hands as they embark on their training session. Shurao initiates by introducing the primordial technique, urging Ji to approach it with unwavering dedication. Agreeing to Shurao's instruction, Zhou and Ji delve into the practice. While Z remains deeply engrossed, Shurao offers guidance, directing her through the motions and providing instructions on how to circulate chi to gain deeper once again. The system window appears with its familiar prompts. Observing Ji's spiritual roots, numbering only 15, Sha queries the system regarding the typical score for an ordinary individual. The system indicates a range between 50 and 60 points, shedding light on Ji's aptitude for easily grasping techniques, but facing challenges in cultivation advancement. Determining that he must intervene directly, Shurao resolves to channel chi to aid Ji in refining her essence and marrow. Placing his hand near Ji's head, energy emanates, enveloping her body in its flow. Ji's eyes flutter open, and she finds herself at the 10th stage of the postnatal realm. Concerned for Zhou's well-being, Ji questions his actions, aware of the potential risks involved in such direct intervention, including cultivation loss, regression, and even injury to the provider's body. Placing her hand on his head, she reassures him of her trust in his expertise. The system notifies Zhou of transferring 100 days of cultivation to Ji, resulting in a gain of 500 days for himself. Reflecting on this, Shurao realizes his newfound advantage. Presenting Ji with a bag filled with riches, Zhou expresses that these gifts are tokens of his appreciation for her. Despite his previous limitations, he now finds joy in being able to provide generously. C, touched by this gesture, experiences newfound happiness in receiving such kindness. The system reveals that Zhou has gifted Ji a 3rd grade 1 pill and 10 2nd grade pills, resulting in a considerable reward. Additionally, he receives a 4th grade 1 pill in return. Expressing her gratitude once more, C thanks her mentor Zhou for not only saving her life in the past, but also for guiding her towards a promising future. She pledges her unwavering service, ready to assist him whenever he calls upon her. The system displays Shurao's generous bestow of 17 martial arts to Ji, resulting in a rewarding return of 20 times the value. Xiao is now in possession of a celestial grade supreme, ranked 1000 sword art. Xiao urges Ji not to underestimate her worth to him, emphasizing that everything he possesses is also hers. Encouraging her to train diligently after absorbing the teachings, he promises to provide her with ample resources for her cultivation. Ji is surprised by his generosity, realizing there will be more opportunities in the future. According to the system, Zhou has gifted Ji the 5-element seal, a mid-rank earth-raid martial art receiving a reward of 20 times the value. A gentle wandering sword, supreme rank, earth grade. Perplexed by her master's abundance, Ji advises him to exercise caution, as such generosity may come with hidden costs. Nonetheless, she trusts in his well-being and playfully mentions his upcoming seclusion period, during which he aims to ascend to level 5 of the Golden Core realm. Excited by the prospect of protecting Zhou during his cultivation, Ji vows to fend off any intruders who dare approach. Jay reminds Jay to practice diligently without undue stress. Jay reassures him of her commitment and immediately sets out to practice. Opening the system window, Zhou eagerly reviews all his accumulated rewards. Holding the wand pill in his hands, Shurao recalls hearing about its rarity. It can only be cultivated by someone with a immense soul. The heavenly materials required for 4th grade elixirs are exceedingly rare, making them highly sought after. Reflecting on the scarcity of these pills within the Hong Liang sect, Shurao acknowledges their immense value. However, his true desire lies with the 1000-mile sword art. This art represents the pinnacle of swordsmanship, unmatched in its mastery. Recognizing the potential of combining the 1000-mile sword art with his new Heil Earth-grade sword, the gentle wandering sword, Shurao envisions an unbeatable combination. Excited by the possibilities, Shurao resolves to test the true power of this formidable pairing. Shurao effortlessly shatters a stone with a small attack. The technique of the 1000 sword art surprises Zhou, focusing on the manipulation of the sword. Shurao contemplates the idea of collecting more swords or acquiring valuable ones to challenge stronger realms in the future. However, for now, Jiao will focus on absorbing the cultivation offered by the system. Confident in his abilities, Shirao believes he may even exceed the 5th stage of the Golden Core. While leisurely strolling through the Wang Sect market, Zhang and Lai Shan are approached by 2 women. These women begin discussing Shirao, mentioning his recent ascension to the Golden Core and his confrontation with Elder Wang on the 6th peak, where Shirao reportedly defeated Wang in a humiliating manner, sparking the interest of Zhang and Lai Shan. The women express admiration for Jiao's willingness to sacrifice his own spiritual roots to aid his disciple, envying those with such a devoted master. Hearing this, Lai wonders if Jiao could truly have imparted his skills and assistance to Shirao. The women accompanying Wang Zhang inquire why Zhang and Lai departed from the 7th peak. Wang Zhang dismisses their queries, labeling Shirao as an incompetent who mistreats his students, explaining their departure from there. As Linha observes the interaction, he ponders Shirao's advancement to the Golden Core despite being a new disciple and Elder Wang's failure to defeat him. Questioning the truth of the matter, intrigued, Lin Horn decides to investigate the situation firsthand. He resolves to witness the truth for himself. At the 7th Peak's gate, a man representing the sect leader, Zhang, confronts Shirao. Introducing himself as Chun, Zhang's senior disciple, he warns Shirao of the upcoming sect competition in 100 days, advising him to prepare accordingly. Chun hesitates, offering an apology before broaching the impending conversation with Ji. Ji, though seemingly frail, astounds Eugene with her talent in the competition. Eugene predicts her defeat and subsequent tears. Hearing Eugene's doubts, Ji bristles, but Shirao intervenes, suggesting Chen's perspective is narrow. Eugene is taken aback by Shirao's interjection. She reveals Ji's remarkable progress from a novice to the 10th stage of the postnatal phase in just 3 days, prompting Xiao to inquire about Ji's rapid evolution. Despite appearances, Chen questions if Ji truly lacks relevance. Chen, bewildered, questions Shirao's assertion, doubting its sincerity. Shirao challenges Chen's disbelief, prompting Zi to demonstrate her prowess with flames. Chen, now fearful, acknowledges the authenticity of Ji's progress, but struggles to comprehend its feasibility. Linharan, observing covertly, shares in the astonishment. Shirao departs confidently, asserting the realm's boundless possibilities. While Dream revels in Chen's correction, hidden still, Linharan doubts Sei's individual capability. Suspecting Shirao's intervention, Linhar contemplates the repercussions of transferring one's cultivation, pondering how to leverage this knowledge. Following these events, Linharan finds themselves in the presence of Elder Mang Yu within the 3rd Peak's hall. Elder Mang Yu questions Lin's allegations, pondering potential actions against Shirao's apparent usurpation of Wang's techniques. Lin Heron asserts their dominance within the sect, claiming entitlement to the lion's share of resources, condemning Shirao's perceived wastefulness. Upon hearing Lin Heron's declaration among the sect members, permission is granted for Lin Heron to personally address the issue. Among the assembly, it is underscored that should Lin Heron succeed in defeating Shirao, they will be acknowledged as a direct disciple, a prospect that Lin Heron expresses gratitude for. Meanwhile, within the training chamber of the 7th Peak, Shirao and Ji prepare for GI and LT, UNC and GT's advancement into the inner realm, a process that involves meridian cleansing. Jiao notes the potential benefits for GI and LT, UNC and GT as future cultivation, albeit accompanied by significant pain. GI affirms her readiness, recalling Ichong and LT, UNC and GT as guidance and resolving to assert herself once strengthened. Drawing motivation from her encounter with Chun, reflecting on her recent interaction with Chun, GI finds renewed determination, prompting Shirao to deem it an opportune moment for GI's meridian cleansing and advancement. Shirao produces a bag containing 4th-class meridian cleansing pills acquired through wealth obtained from Hang Na. With preparations made, Shirao initiates the training regimen. GI concentrates intently as the process commences. Despite initial discomfort, GI endures, ultimately experiencing a sense of lightness. A system notification confirms Shirao's transfer of 200 days of cultivation to Ji, augmenting her aptitude by 70 points and bestowing a low-class auto-elemental water sword technique of Earth rank, a development that Shirao regards with satisfaction. Pleased with the outcome, Shirao's cultivation reaches the 6th level of the Golden Core. Content with his gains, Shirao revels in the satisfaction of progress. Ji, having completed the process, awakens feeling significantly improved. Having attained the 1st innate level, Zuri questions whether the meridian and marrow purification technique she underwent is sufficient to confront Chun. A window displays Zuri's information. A new name Shinyo. True identity, disciple understanding, 260. Aptitude, 85. Talent, innate body, sword, not activated. Activation condition. Reach the foundation realm. Obtain recognition of the ancestral sword embryo of the Lin family. Xiao chuckles, gently touching Zuri's face, encouraging her to face Chun bravely, promising to escort her to the World Genius Challenge if she emerges victorious. Shirao's offer fills Zuri with immense joy, prompting her to confirm if such feats are truly within her reach. Abruptly, a knock disrupts the tranquility, surprising Z and Xiao. The visitor summons Jiao, informing him of a disciple's serious injury sustained while gathering medicinal herbs, compelling Jiao to investigate. Suspicious, Xiao opts to follow the caller outside. Departing, Z ponders the identity of Jiao's other disciples besides herself. Upon opening the door, Jiao is greeted by a surprising sight. He is taken aback. Lying on the ground, Lin Heron calls out for his master, referring to Shirao, and recounts his meager success in retrieving a blood dragon plant, beseeching Shirao to accept it. Furiously, C accuses Lin Heron of betrayal, questioning his presence. Lin Heron attempts to explain, his voice trembling, insisting it's a misunderstanding, and he retrieved the plant solely to save his master's life. The disciples of Elder Mang from the Third Peak interject, defending Lin Heron's actions and urging restraint in addressing him. Among them, someone mentions Lin Heron's 3-day plea for Elder Mang's assistance, a gesture that resonated with the sect members, acknowledging Lin Heron's persistence among the group, sympathizes with his plight, moved by his unwavering devotion. Drew rejects all explanations, accusing them of distorting the truth, firmly believing Lin Heron betrayed Shirao and is now attempting to manipulate the Shirao intervenes, urging Gi to stay calm and entrust the matter to him. Addressing Lin Heron, Shirao queries his presence and questions whether he had already sworn allegiance to the Elder of the Third Peak. With a cold smile, Shirao queries if Lin Heron truly desires to return to his side. Kneeling before Shirao, Lin Heron acknowledges his wrongdoing and pleads for forgiveness, offering the blood dragon herb as observing from afar. Disciples among speculate on Shirao's health, deeming the herb unnecessary. Another disciple remarks on Lin Heron's declining talent, warning of bleak prospects without a pill for cultivation. Acknowledging the necessity of such a pill due to Shirao's apparent ailment, the two disciples direct their attention to him, questioning if Lin Heron was responsible for his harm. Lin Heron responds with a smile, denying the accusation. Shirao, seemingly inspired, formulates a plan, claiming a need for the herb to aid his health. Shirao requests confirmation from Z, who promptly corroborates his story, citing his recent weakness. Observing this exchange, the onlookers are stunned. However, Lin Heron grows irritated, doubting Shirao's integrity and lamenting the necessity of obtaining the pill to avoid being deemed a failure. Resuming the charade, Lin Heron insists Sei should utilize the plant, deeming himself unworthy to possess it. Seizing the opportunity, Shirao swiftly takes the plant from Lin Heron's grasp, declaring the matter resolved and suggesting chicken stew for dinner, much to Z's confusion. A system notification confirms Shirao's gift of a first-class blood dragon herb to Z, resulting in 5 times more second-class blood dragon plants as a reward. Lin Heron begins coughing, expressing happiness in aiding his master. While the disciples of Elder Mang support him, recognizing Lin Heron's sacrifice, they urge among them to advocate on his behalf, lamenting Shirao and LT, Unk and GT's lack of reciprocation. Among them emphasizes to Shirao the gravity of the situation, highlighting the potential loss of human lives and the sect's reputation if action is not taken. They assert that future disciples could be deterred from joining the 7th Peak if news of this negligence spreads. Shirao intervenes, urging patience among the gathered individuals. Jiao steps forward, acknowledging his duty as Lin Heron's former master and expressing concern over the potential consequences of administering the pill due to Lin Heron's prior offenses. He offers to cleanse Lin Heron's meridians to mitigate the risks. Observing Jiao's actions, among them recognizes his value for talent and speculates on his intentions to impart his skills to his students. They resolve to closely monitor the situation for any techniques Jiao employs to minimize side effects. Shirao acknowledges Lin Heron's sacrifice, asserting his responsibility to intervene. Initiating the process, Shirao holds Lin Heron's hand as energy begins to flow, eliciting fear in Lin Heron. As the process continues, Lin Heron experiences intense pain and foaming at the mouth. Among them instructs the disciples to pay closer attention, reminding them of the hardships endured by Master Lin Heron. Realizing Zhao's actions aren't beneficial, but instead destructive, Lin Heron fears the consequences. Struggling to cry out for help, Lin Heron realizes his voice has been silenced by Zhao's technique. Fearing his fate, as Elder Mangyu remains indifferent, praising Lin Heron's efforts. After the ordeal, Lin Har lies utterly broken on the ground. She reports that he successfully applied an immensely powerful technique to heal Lin Heron's entire body. However, due to his low cultivation level, there are concerns about his ability to endure it. Shurao requests assistance from someone among them to escort Lin Heron back and ensure he receives proper rest. Leaning on Jay for support, Chao admits feeling a bit weary from exerting a significant amount of his own energy and expresses the need for a short rest. Laughter erupts among them as they speculate that one may not fully comprehend the technique employed by Shurao, evident from the noticeable difference in aura levels. Recognizing the opportune moment, they deem it an excellent time to test their skills. Without hesitation, one among them springs into action to attack Shurao, prompting a cautionary shout from Ji. However, Zhao's smile indicates his readiness for such an assault. He swiftly pivots, effortlessly deflecting the attack. With a smile, Chao questions the audacity of exploiting such a situation to attack someone weakened like Shurao, who had just saved a man on the verge of death. Witnessing this unfold, the attacker is taken aback by the situation, pondering whether it was indeed an advantageous time and marveling at Shurao's seemingly boundless energy. Shurao channels his energy to forcefully propel the assailant away. The attacker tumbles to the ground, prompting his disciples to rush to his aid. Shurao nonchalantly turns back, acting as if nothing extraordinary had occurred, and calls upon Jia to prepare chicken. Enthusiastic as always, she agrees and begins the preparations alongside Shurao. Lin, in a state of horror, abruptly awakens and demands to know why the two hadn't taken action sooner. Meeting each other's gaze, the two adversaries prepare themselves for imminent combat. One of them retrieves concealed items obtained by Meng during his travels, which can be manipulated through a specialized technique. These items vanish into thin air without a trace, constituting a completely invisible attack. None had been able to counteract this technique before their arrival at the 7th peak. It had been entrusted to him by one of their group with clear instructions on its use in such dire circumstances. With a decisive motion, he directs it toward Xiao. However, Shurao effortlessly evades the attack with an air of nonchalance, treating it almost like a jest. The projectile collides with the door, initiating a corrosive reaction. Gradually, the door begins to deteriorate. Observing this, Xiao acknowledges the uniqueness of the situation. However, since consuming the limitless golden pill, his senses have greatly sharpened, enabling him to keenly detect any lethal intent. Without this enhancement, Zhao might have found himself in serious jeopardy. Zio directs his gaze towards the perplexed duo who are puzzled by how he managed to evade the attack. Unfazed by their confusion, they remain steadfast in their intention to continue the assault. Jiao instructs Ji to employ the Kangol Longsword technique, targeting the southeast. Z summons her sword and readies herself for the impending attack. With a swift motion, she adeptly parries the assault. Z stands in awe of her skillful defense. Suddenly, a system notification appears indicating a reward granted. It notes that under the master's guidance, the disciple has comprehended the intent of the Kangol Longsword, earning a tripled reward, a set of Dragon Spirit armor of the Earth category, intermediate class. Shurao gazes at Ji, recognizing that he had anticipated this outcome due to her recent mastery of the innate body sword. Despite her newfound ability to grasp the sword's intent, she continues to impress. The disciples of Meng are utterly astonished by this display of prowess. Even those beyond the Nint Soul realm or the realm of gathering separation would struggle to detect such an attack. They question the identity of the assailant, bewildered by their capabilities. Lin Heron, crawling on the ground, urgently implores to flee from the scene. Observing Lin Har's desperation, Zio's gaze hardens. He reflects on how Lin Heron, who had betrayed his master and inflicted harm upon his ancestors, could muster the audacity to attack his master. Sensing Zhao's determination, Lin Heron recoils in fear. Seizing the moment, Z leaps forward with her sword, declaring Lin Har and LT, Unk and GT, his actions unforgivable. Despite Lin Heron's attempt to evade, the attack lands with formidable force. Lin Heron collapses to the ground in utter defeat, his voice quivering as he insists that this cannot be happening. Cautioned by one disciple not to approach, Master Manhua assures them that Shurao's fate will not end here. Their sect master, Shurao's companion, will intervene. Though one disciple reassures them, citing their stages of cultivation. Another points out something unseen behind Z. Z's gaze is filled with a thirst for blood. Shirao lays a hand on Jay's shoulder, but she insists he rests, promising to handle everything. However, she cryptically mentions that sometimes death is preferable to life. The disciples begin to falter, pleading with Shirao not to proceed further. Despite their protests, Shirao advances steadily, questioning their remorse. Shirao continues forward, implying it's too late for regrets. Time has run its course. Hours later, Shirao stands before the sect leader, recounting the events, framing them as acts of defense and loyalty to the sect's integrity. Shirao appeals to the leader for understanding and leniency, hoping the seventh peak won't be punished. Leader Jiang remains impassive, expressing concern about potential remnants despite the traitor's demise. The leader underscores the gravity of repeatedly flouting sect rules. Shirao humbly acknowledges the leader's wisdom and pledges obedience. Another disciple challenges the leader, accusing bias and distortion of facts. One among them voices his good intentions in visiting the seventh peak, only to witness Shirao's violation of sect rules by killing his disciple, advocating for expulsion as the fitting punishment. Shirao counters, stating it wasn't a mere visit. Linha had already been accepted as his disciple. He shifts responsibility to Manhwa for Linha's fate. Questioning the purpose behind taking him to the seventh peak, Manhwa dismisses the notion of a casual visit. Tossing the needles used in the attack, Shirao challenges the sincerity of his defense, cautioning against deceitful claims. Leader Jiang and LT, Unk and GT's frustration is palpable as he rebukes Manhwa and LT, Unk and GT's defense of sect rules, suggesting Manhwa set an example by voluntarily forfeiting his cultivation. Upon hearing this, Manga kneels once more, pleading for mercy. Zhang Hua intervenes, declaring an end to the matter with a punishment for Manhwa. 3 months of physical penance and 1 month of reflection with no further debate. Shirao silently acknowledges the leader's wisdom. Guards arrive to escort Manhwa away, who remains incredulous until the end. Mangnu vows revenge regardless of the cost, locking eyes with Xiao. Meanwhile, CI diligently trains in the Seventh Peaks Hall. Xiao interrupts X's concentration, apologizing for his prior interaction with the traitor and offering to take responsibility for any punishment imposed by the sect leader. Startled, Z quickly rises and begins to pace, while Jiao expresses remorse for his earlier actions and assures her of his support. Shirao soothes her anxieties, reassuring her that she bears no fault and can trust him to shield her from any harm. Placing a hand on Jay's shoulder, she implores her to remember these words well. From this moment forward, whether it be traitors, deities, rulers, or officials, anyone who dares to cross Ji or Shirao will face their retaliation. Ji's face flushes with excitement at this declaration. She pledges unwavering support, vowing to stand by Ji's side, even if the heavens themselves were to collapse. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Ji breaks into tears and sinks to her knees. Seeing Ji's emotional display, Shirao gently lifts her up and encourages her to speak her mind. Z insists that some truth should not remain hidden from Ji. She reveals her true name as Linzi and her lineage as the daughter of the Lin family, once rulers of the Southwest. Shirao is taken aback, recalling the Lin family's esteemed martial background and their sudden demise a decade ago. Ji tearfully recounts the Lin family's discovery of a vast spiritual stone deposit on their land, a breakthrough that could have elevated them to power akin to the Hong Liang sect. Despite her father's efforts to keep the discovery secret, Zay's uncle, driven by greed and ambition, betrayed the family to the Luo Yun sect, leading to a massacre orchestrated for personal gain. More than 100 members of Say's family perished at the hands of the Lu Yuan sect, leaving only a few survivors under her father's protection. Z narrowly escaped, only to fall into the hands of bandits who robbed her and sold her into slavery. She recounts how fortunate she was to be found by her master Shirao, acknowledging the bleak alternative had he not intervened. Shirao is moved to tears upon hearing C's words. Realizing the depth of her suffering and understanding her animosity towards traitors, determined, Shirao takes Ji by the arm, declaring their descent from the mountain. Ji questions their sudden departure and destination. Shirao explains that Ji had requested Xiao as her master, and out of respect for her choice, he intends to seek retribution. Locking eyes with Ji, Shirao assures her that as her master, he will accompany her to the Lu Yuan sect to exact revenge. She's tears flow anew at Shirao's resolve. Ji rushes to embrace Shirao, expressing her desire for his peaceful existence, even if it means kneeling for the rest of her life. Shirao reassures her, urging them to focus on their journey ahead. With limitless possibilities awaiting, they depart. In the midst of the forest outside the city, two figures engage in combat until a third intervenes. These combatants are Lori and Linking Xuan, and upon spotting the newcomer, Lori angrily accuses him of allowing others to perish, draining their energy. The newcomer, Jiang Wei from the Sun and Moon Ghost Sect, acknowledges his role in the conflict, citing Lu Rei's mastery of the Green Twin Swords technique. Jiang Yi initiates a confrontation, prompting Lori and Linking Xuan to prepare for battle. However, a sudden surge of energy disrupts the impending clash, halting all parties. Angrily, Jiang demands to know the source of the interference. Linking Xuan and Lori exchange startled glances as they observe the hole in the stone caused by the mysterious energy beam. Jai expresses frustration, admitting she missed her attack due to mistiming. Shirao calmly reminds her that he had warned her about the premature timing of her strike. Jiang makes a sarcastic remark, attributing the chaos to Ji's beauty. In a mocking tone, Jiang asks Ji how she plans to make amends. Si, disapproving of Jiang's arrogance, declares that his demeanor warrants punishment. Despite her protest, Ji advances towards Jiang Yu. With a swift motion, Jiang disarms Ji, admonishing her master for failing to caution her against such recklessness. Concerned onlookers, Linking Xuan and Lori caution Jie to be careful, but she remains resolute, focusing solely on her objective. Jai retorts to Jiang, stating that her master taught her not to show mercy to fools like Jiang Yu. She then employs her magic, conjuring a radiant glow behind Jiang. Before he can react, several swords strike him from behind, eliciting a cry of pain. Sai retrieves Jiang's bag and presents it to Shirao, revealing it contains nothing of significant value, only spiritual stones and elixirs. Shirao suggests Si keep the bag. Linking Xuan and Lori approach Ji and Shirao, expressing gratitude for their assistance. They introduce themselves as disciples of Elder Juice, one from the Hongliang sect, and inquire about Ji and Shirao's identities. Shirao introduces himself as Elder Shirao of the Seventh Peak, and Ji as a student, exchanging pleasantries with the newcomers. Shirao downplays formalities and asks why they were engaged in combat with members of the Sun and Moon Ghost Say. Lori explains that the Ghost Sect harbors animosity towards the Hong Liang Gang sect, with some members even targeting monks. The recent conflict stemmed from disputes over the colorless grass of 1,000 years, which comes in various grades and qualities. This plant holds significance in the spiritual realm, with different sexes vying for its possession. Shirao nods, understanding the gravity of the situation surrounding the valuable plant. Lori underscores the value of the colorless grass of 1,000 years, explaining its role in crafting foundation stage pills and its scarcity. He reveals that this particular plant was unexpectedly discovered in auction due to leaked information, attracting the attention of Jiang Yu and LT, Unk, and GT as followers. Out of gratitude, Lori offers the plant to Shirao, noting that its timely arrival prevented its potential theft by the Ghost Sect. Shirao acknowledges the significance of the herb in refining foundation stage pills, enhancing success rates, and questions Lori's sincerity in giving it away. Linking Xuan and Lori fix their gaze on Shirao as Lori explains their master's teachings of gratitude and vengeance, urging Shirao to accept the herb as a token of appreciation. Shirao agrees to accept the gift, but proposes to share the pills once Jiao refines them, emphasizing their connection as students of Elder Zhou. Lori expresses thanks and attempts to hand over the herb. However, Shirao suggests it's premature to accept the gift and announces his intention to impart 3 lessons to everyone present. Shirao advises on the importance of targeting the root of a problem when taking action, demonstrating by magically slicing a tree in half with a sword. As the tree falls, 2 figures emerge from its vicinity. Startled, Lori demands to know when they had hidden there. The woman, still crouching, observes Lori's arrogance despite being only at the 1st level of the Golden Core. The newcomers are revealed as Yang at the 3rd level of the Golden Core and Qin Yang at the 4th level. Yangzi accuses Shirao of killing their disciple and asserts it's now his time to face consequences. Shirao acknowledges their reputation as the Yin and Yang deities of the lunar and solar phantom sects, known for their unmatched soul recovery abilities and persistence in capturing targets. Despite the impending threat, Shirao remains undeterred, aware of the formidable challenge ahead. Chu believes it's up to him to record the events. Before departing from the 7th peak, he employed techniques to conceal his presence. Noting the lack of discernment in the 2 young opponents, he gazes at Shirao, expressing his lack of fear despite being aware of Shirao's reputation, further fueling Beyond's excitement for the impending battle. Beyond swings his chains in an attempt to strike Shirao, Shirao effortlessly evades the initial attack. Seattle observes the tree trunk where the chain made contact. Noticing a peculiar change, Yangzi creates a whirlwind with his blood-infused chains, trapping Shirao in the center. He warns that the chains are imbued with the blood and essence of thousands, capable of turning even innocence into bones upon touch. Shirao continues to evade the chain attacks, dismissing Yangzi's extravagant claims. He remains confident that as long as he dodges, he'll be safe. However, just as Shirao expresses his confidence, he senses something amiss and looks down. Several magical skeletons emerge from the ground, gripping his feet. Jing Jiang brandishes her staff, claiming its power to ensnare souls as sacrifices, ensuring those trapped within never escape. Despite the dire situation, Shirao chuckles, acknowledging their coordinated attacks as commendable. Jing Yong screams for Shirao's demise. Shirao finds himself ensnared by multiple souls and surrounded by chains while his opponents grow increasingly desperate. Witnessing Shirao's predicament, the two assailants become frantic. Shirao closes his eyes. Moments later, numerous magical swords materialize around him. Shirao directs the swords towards his Yangzi, somewhat relieved, remarks on Shirao's audacity in confronting both magical artifacts despite being only at the spiritual energy stage. Upon witnessing Zhao's attack, Jin Yong is taken aback and urges them to join forces. Upon impact, the chains effortlessly penetrate them, leaving Yangzi utterly desperate, unprepared for such a turn of events. Yanzi is thrown back by the force of the sword's impact. Seeing this, Qingyang is overcome with fear, deeming the situation highly abnormal. How could the Shirao sword possess such formidable power? This bodes ill. Observing the unfolding chaos, Jin Yong attempts to flee, prompting Ji to vocally express her retreat. As Qingyang flees in desperation, she reflects on the abnormality of these swords, considering that even in the hands of a novice soul stage cultivator, such power would be unlikely. Alerted by Ji, Shirao focuses his attention and questions Qinjiang's belief that she could escape. Shirao directs his power towards Jin Yong, decreeing her demise. Resorting to the souls within her staff once more, Jin Yong implores them to deflect the impending attack. The Shirao sword relentlessly advances toward the center, homing in on Qingyang. Once the formation is breached, the spirits will be liberated. Upon hearing this, the spirits halt, refusing to shield Qingyang. Confounded, Qingyang urges the spirits to recognize Shirao as the enemy and defend her. Instead, the spirits turn against Qingyang, attacking her ferociously. Thus, the curse is shattered. Jai releases them to pursue their own paths, linking Chuan and B. Lori are struck by Zio's formidable strength. Witnessing Elder Xiao dispatch 2 villagers from the Lunar and Solar Ghost sect with just 2 moves. Linking Chuan speculates that Shirao may now even transcend into the Net Soul realm. I rouches over joyfully, announcing the discovery of all the treasures belonging to the recently defeated pair. Approaching with a smile, Shale congratulates Ji on her growing proficiency in collecting spoils, offering her A and bag that belonged to Jiang E, GI and LT, Unk and GT. His eyes light up with happiness upon hearing this, and she expresses her gratitude to Master Shirao for the gift. Observing Shirao's generosity towards Ji, Linking Chuan and B. Lori are astonished. GI proudly boasts of possessing 10,000 low-rank spirit stones and numerous elixirs. She questions Master Shirao on how she would utilize all these riches alone. Shirao informs GI that he has entrusted everything to her and advises her to handle it with care. He contemplates examining the rewards bestowed upon him by the system. The system detects the host's generosity towards his apprentice, revealing a substantial reward consisting of various items. Among the rewards are a level 4 immortal nourishing pill, a Cancun ring, merciless millennium herbs, and absolute class spirit stones, leaving Chao astounded by the magnitude of the gifts. Pausing to absorb the enormity of the 2,000 absolute class stones received, Shirao realizes the vast wealth now at his disposal. Shirao jubilantly celebrates his newfound riches. Feeling as though he has struck gold overnight, she seeks Shirao and LT, Unk and GT's approval to gift the 2 bags to Linking Xuan and B. Lori since she already possesses a Cancun ring. Linking Xuan and Bori hesitate to accept the gifts, considering them too valuable. Shirao affectionately pats Ji on the head, assuring her that she is free to do as she pleases with the gifts. With a smile, Ji hands over the 2 bags to them, requesting that they handle them with care. Linking Xuan and B. Lori shed tears of happiness, expressing their gratitude towards Ji and Xiao as benevolent individuals. Bai Lori admits to feeling envious of Ji for having such a selfless master. Shirao and Ji eventually make their way to the alchemy room in Luyuan City. Upon entering, they find several individuals deeply engrossed in their tasks. Ji inquires about their activities. Shou elucidates that the merciless millennium herb they acquired outside the city can be utilized to refine foundation creation pills for Ji. Excited by the prospect, Ji expresses profound gratitude towards her master. A woman named Shu Moon overhears their conversation. Surprised by the revelation that refining foundation creation pills requires at least golden core cultivation level, Shun initially doubts Chao's abilities due to his youthful appearance. However, upon observing his serene cultivation, her skepticism wanes. Suddenly, an explosion rocks the room, hurling Xiao and Ji away. Embarrassed, Ji questions Shirao's expertise in alchemy. Xiao, attempting to maintain composure, admits to never having made a foundation creation pill before. Shu offers her assistance in perfecting the foundation creation pill. Ji eagerly agrees, though Jao remains suspicious. Shun explains the requirements for refining the pill, insisting that Xiao must handle the process alone. Onlookers admire Shu Moon's generosity, perceiving her as genuinely compassionate. Shirao notices the symbol on Xuan's shirt, indicating her status as a second-level alchemist. Shirao expresses surprise at Xuan's youthfulness despite her advanced alchemical skill. While Su Mohan concentrates on extracting the herb and herb, Shirao expresses gratitude for the assistance and offers to pay double the market value. Subsequently, Mohan begins the herb preparation process while Z and Shirao observe attentively. The surroundings become infused with vibrant green and yellow energy. Suin retrieves a bottle and utters an incantation, causing the energy to flow into it. Despite Shirao's insistence on payment, Suin insists that the favor was freely given and declines any compensation. Amidst the chaos of people running and shouting about the auction, Suin remains calm and observant. Mohan gracefully takes her leave, refusing any payment once again. Contemplating a suitable weapon for Ji, Shirao considers the terrestrial level sword up for auction, strategizing to acquire valuable items to benefit from the system's rewards. Inviting Ji to accompany him to the auction, Shirao's gesture elicits excitement from Ji, who eagerly accepts the invitation. Within the Tongji building's second floor, the auction unfolds with the presenter showcasing remarkable items, including a 1,000-year-old ironwood whip imbued with spiritual energy and adorned with spiritual stones. Its power capable of reaching the Xuan lower realm with an initial bidding price of 30,000 low-class stones. Hein eagerly participates, raising the bid to 100,000, much to the annoyance of others struggling to keep up with the exorbitant prices. Frustration mounts among the bidders, realizing the steep competition and the difficulty for ordinary individuals to afford such high bids. Sumoan quietly observes the bidding frenzy without interjecting. The presenter introduces a superior class melted core fire lotus, emphasizing its exceptional quality and setting the starting price at 1 million low-class spiritual stones. Recognizing the significance of this opportunity, Su Mohan realizes that acquiring the melted core lotus may be her only chance. Thoughts racing, Su Mohan contemplates her next move in securing the prized melted core lotus. However, Z, disregarding all else, joyfully stands once more, proclaiming an offer of 2 million. Sumoan's eyes fill with tears, overwhelmed with disbelief. Other attendees express their inability to match such a high bid, acknowledging defeat as the auction reaches its conclusion, with the expectation that the wealthy will once again prevail. The presenter strikes the gavel, announcing the sale to Shirao for 2 million. Contemplating his newfound possession, Shirao muses on the notion of money not bringing happiness, prompting a thoughtful glance from Z. The presenter presents the lotus to Shirao's table, extending congratulations on the acquisition, while Z admires its beauty. Observing the scene, Suin wonders if they intend to purchase everything else as well. Despite feeling a pang of sadness at losing the opportunity to acquire the melted core lotus, Su Mohan considers approaching Shirao to request it. Though she fears his response, summoning her courage, she approaches Shirao's table, catching Z's eye, who recognizes her as the earlier alchemist. Sumo kneels before Shirao, revealing her father's martial background and her need for the Fire Lotus help. She implores Shirao to sell her the Fire Lotus, promising to repay the favor through diligent work. Moved by her plea, Jai inquires of his master. Shirao declares that the lotus now belongs to Jai, granting Su Mohan permission to do as she wishes with it. The system detects the exchange, rewarding Shirao with 5 times the usual reward for gifting a superior-grade core fused fire lotus to his apprentice. Before any further action can be taken, a rope with an iron tip hurtles towards them. Z swiftly discerns the impending danger and stands firm against the assault. Following the unexpected strike, Z inquires about the perpetrator. The crowd erupts into screams, anticipating a brawl. A man clutching a rope insults G, labeling him as insignificant. He gestures towards another man, proclaiming him as his master and offering 3 million for the lotus. The onlookers gasp, as this sum is exorbitant for an average person. This individual is Wang, the offspring of the lord of Luyuan City. Wang youngers that 3 million would be trifling for Sumo Han. Upon spotting him, Sumihan displays signs of apprehension, which Shirao notices. Onlookers remark that Wang Ranga is once again harassing Sumo Han. They emphasize that ever since Sumo Han assumed the position of family head, Wang Ranger has persistently tormented her. The assailant rises again, demanding that the 2 women surrender the lotus as Wang Roger desires. Z adopts a defiant stance, asserting they will not sell merely to appease Wang Roger. Mohan rushes over, urging restraint and beseeching Gi not to provoke them, leaving Ji and Shirao perplexed. Shirao suggests that Suin might have some connection with that man. Suin begins to elaborate, revealing that the man is the son of the lord of Luyuan City and holds significant influence there. She recounts Wang Ringer's previous proposal of marriage, which she declined, leading to his relentless pursuit. Suin takes responsibility for the turmoil and offers 50,000 spirit stones as an apology before announcing her departure. Observing Mon's resilience and resourcefulness, Shirao becomes enthusiastic about the prospect of mentoring such a capable woman, particularly noting her prowess as a second-level alchemist at a young age. Shirao contacts someone, informing them to wait momentarily as he plans to hand over the lotus and teach Wang Younger a lesson. However, there's a condition attached to this, leaving the recipient entirely surprised. Mon abruptly turns, sprinting back to inquire about the stipulation. Shirao casually unfolds his fan once more, revealing that all she needs to do is acknowledge him as her master. Su Mohan exclaims her acceptance, pledging to do anything as long as Shirao can save her father. Su Mohan humbly kneels, addressing Shirao as Master Yao, offering a token of respect. She formally agrees to be his second disciple, eagerly awaiting his confirmation. A window pops up announcing congratulations to the host for acquiring a new disciple. It reveals that Su Mohan possesses a human-level alchemy heart, enhancing the success rate of alchemy significantly. However, upon seeing this, Shirao is mildly surprised, noting Suin's average aptitude and understanding, indicating the need for him to guide and transfer the power of the alchemy heart. Brandishing her sword, Suin pledges her support. Shirao commands Ji to eliminate everyone present, a command Ji readily accepts. Ji promptly complies, launching an assault on the assembled individuals. The previous assailant perceives Ji as merely a braggart. Unfazed, he readies himself for another attack, but Zeri intervenes with a swift kick to his face, knocking out one of his teeth and sending him crashing into the wall behind Wang Roger, leaving him wide-eyed and astonished. Observing this, Wang Rogers' eyes widen in shock. Z expresses her disdain for individuals like him, asserting that despite his arrogance, he lacks any real power. Trembling with fear, Wang Ranger points accusingly at Ji, questioning how she dares to strike his people and challenging her knowledge of his father's identity. Z charges towards Wang Ranger, emphasizing that his lineage holds no significance in their impending confrontation. She asserts her intent to defeat him thoroughly, until even his father cannot recognize him. Wang Ranger, overcome with emotion, implores Z to depart, warning of dire consequences if any harm befalls him, as his father would ensure. She faces, however, a sudden interruption occurs. A figure emerges between them, halting Ji's assault and intervening in the escalating situation. Z registers my surprise. Having not previously noticed the presence of this intervening figure, Shirao remains a silent observer throughout the unfolding events. This enigmatic figure, known only as Nameless, serves as Wang Yir's bodyguard. Currently operating at the ninth soul level, Wang Ridger's demeanor shifts to mockery, taunting his adversaries for their perceived lack of courage. He orders his bodyguard to retaliate against Z, intending to demonstrate that all involved parties will face consequences. Sai maintains a passive stance as Wang Ranger cowers behind his bodyguard, displaying a lack of personal courage. However, the bodyguard asserts his primary duty is ensuring Wang Roger's safety, refusing to intervene in his personal disputes with others. The auction presenter interrupts, banging the gavel and demanding an explanation for the disturbance. He warns that any violation of the rules within the premises could result in immediate consequences, urging the conflicting parties to depart as those who defy Tongji House rules are unwelcome. Wang Roger opts to withdraw, deeming it a simpler resolution. Before departing, he admonishes Jiao and the others, urging them to exercise restraint within Luyun City to avoid further encounters. Ji seeths with anger, her impulse to unleash havoc palpable. But Jiao advises restraint and calls for her withdrawal. Despite Zhao's counsel, Ji remains resentful towards Wang Rogers' arrogance, expressing her discontent and reluctance to forgive his behavior. The individual from earlier inquired of Wang Roger whether they were truly considering releasing them without consequence. However, Wang Roger asserted that eluding him wouldn't be as simple. Once they departed, they would be apprehended, as such an act wouldn't violate the Tongji building's protocols. Wang Roger conveyed their intention to execute Xiao and exhibit his remains at the city entrance. Regarding the women, the circumstances would diverge upon exiting. One of Wang Rogers' underlings scoured the vicinity for Shurao, but found no trace of them. Shurao concealed themselves behind a wall, focusing their magical abilities. They dispatched one of their swords to assail the trio. The bodyguard detected the sword's approach in time. Drawing his own sword, he endeavored to counter the attack. However, Chao's assault effortlessly shattered the bodyguard's blade, striking Wang Roger directly. The blow knocked him to the ground. Shurao materializes before the trio, prompting the subordinate to vehemently confront Xiao about the alleged murder on Tianjin House's grounds. Xiao, with serene confidence, rebuffs the accusation, asserting that he strategically waited until they vacated Tianjin House before exacting vengeance, thereby adhering to their established regulations. This retort leaves the subordinate flustered and speechless. The bodyguard discards the remaining portion of his sword, symbolizing his resignation or defiance. Expressing his disdain for Wang Roger's demeanor, the bodyguard acknowledges his duty to protect him despite his personal feelings. Loyalty to Wang Roger compels the bodyguard to adhere to his sworn duty, which entails avenging any harm done to the person he safeguards. Consequently, if someone were to slay his charge, the bodyguard would be obligated to seek retribution, lest he incur the relentless pursuit of the Wang family. Thus, he prepares himself for the impending confrontation. Shurao and LT, Unk and GT's lips curve into a subtle smile. Surrounded by his